Okay, welcome. We're live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Gaia Gang with Cat Marquez. We are here live, projecting for 10:33 a.m. We're about 5 minutes early. So thank you, thank you, Wopila. Eternal gratitude for you and the medicine you embody. Um, I am excited. I know there's some other people in the communities around here so excited to watch this episode. And I understand that before I say anything, we're going to do some things a little different today. Um, we're going to have you do opening ceremony. It's sacredly how you see through your ways.
Yes.
And before you do that, why did you wear the color red today? Because I was going to do that too, but obviously you took the stage for that one.
Well, red it has many different meanings for me. It is one of my favorite colors. It is a very sacred color. We, in the traditions of the Mexica people and probably in other traditions, see the color red as a very protective color energetically. And so we tend to wrap our medicine tools, our sacred items in red because it is a protective color. It, of course, is the color of passion and creativity and just really an action, really getting that motivation flowing and helping these positive things to manifest in our lives.
Okay, wow, that's awesome. Yeah, much deeper than I thought. I usually go with universal consciousness in the Mashika way, but before that, let's go. Some people might get confused into other ideologies or perspectives, like, oh, the color of love, or Christmas time, red and green, or stop signs. But that is a very sacred, beautiful, in depth, like deep, profound way to explain the color red. If I could apply all that to my vernacular, I would. There's a lot of things said. So, anyways, thank you, gracias. And would you like to open this episode today with your sacred ways of opening? By the way, Beverly says here, hello, sister and brother. Hello,
Hi,
hello.
Bev.
Mi hermana, hello, buenos dias. Great grand rising. We're about to go into the opening sacred ceremony of the way um, Kat does over here. So I will let her honor the stage, and here we go.
Okay, thank you so much, Jason. So, I'm actually going to be doing an abbreviated version. Usually, when I call in sacred space, I'm doing it takes a little while, probably a good 10-15 minutes. For the purpose of the podcast, I'm going to be abbreviating that a little bit. I'm going to be calling in the sacred archetypes and energies of three different traditions of the Mexica traditions, which are the people of Mexico, of Central America, as well as the Mayan, some of the Mayan Nahuales, and the Andean archetypes. So I'm going to begin by calling in again those seven sacred directions. I'm going to be ringing my bell. I don't know if you can hear that. Can you hear the bell?
Oh, I have headphones on perfecto. I'm gonna go off on this on my screen so I can meditate to your intro like that. Okay? I wanna
Okay.
so whenever
Oh,
you're ready, listo, one, two, three, andale, let's go.
okay, let's do it. So, inviting the sacred energies of light and love into this medicine space with us here. I want everybody to just come to a place of silence, breathing in and out of their heart chakra, extending the exhalations, making them longer than the inhalations, bringing the focus of our consciousness within ourselves, letting go of everything that's swirling around us, all the stress, whatever's happening in our lives, and switching the focus of our consciousness from the left hemisphere of the brain to the right hemisphere of the brain, from the masculine to the feminine. And here we are feeling, we're no longer thinking, we're just feeling all of the love and the beauty that we truly are at our heart center. And I'm going to be opening sacred space in the Andean tradition, starting in the south, then moving around the medicine wheel to all the four directions, as well as above, below, and within, calling in seven directions. Okay, staying with our heart center. And I'm going to be in each direction saying the word Hamwe. Hamwe is a Quechua word, an Andean word that means come, holy ones, come. So please join me in saying the Hamwes, 3 Hamwes in each direction as I ring the bell. Hamwe, Hamwe, Hamwe. We ask for the sacred presence of the energies of Kuyo Suyo of the southern direction. Come, join with us, Nahuelito Kan. Come, Atuna Maru. Come, Sasha Mamita. Mamita Nina. Sacred serpent energy, energy of creation, energy of life, energy of healing, of our DNA, of the spiral galaxies throughout the cosmos. Come, enter into this medicine space with us. Mamita Nina, sacred element of fire. Come, sacred fires from the heart of our Earth Mother, from the heart of our Celestial Father, meeting and uniting at our heart center in the highest power of Munai, the highest power of love. Come, Huitzilopochtli, sacred hummingbird of the south. Xochiquetzali, sacred feathered flower goddess. Come, sacred Apus del Sur, of the south, from the Patagonia, from the Andes mountain ranges. Come, sacred mountain spirits, you who unite the celestial and terrestrial energies and bring us the wisdom and the healing to humanity. We welcome in these sacred energies of fire. We ask that your fires transform all within us, which is unworthy, bringing us forth unto the light, setting our feet upon the path of the heroine's journey and the hero's journey here in this linear world. Tlazokamate, aho. Now
Oh.
we're going to call in the west. Hamwe, Hamwe, Hamwe. We now welcome in the sacred energies of the west of Tinchasuyo. Come, come, reside here in this space with us. Sacred energies of the feminine. Come, Atun Mamita Otorongo, sacred jaguar, Gran Ish, Nahuelito Keme, connect us with our ancestors. Come, Abuelita Osita, sacred bear, keeper of the medicine. Mamita Cocha, sacred spirits of water, awaken the rivers of life within us, purify all wounding and trauma, that we may move forth into a life where we source only from the nectar and not from the wounds. Come, Tlazoteot, sacred vulture, you who clean up the filth of humanity. Come, Xipetotec, sacred guardian of Siwatlampa, the place of the women. We welcome the divine feminine, the great mother, the great creatrix of the universe into this space, you who reside within us and without. We welcome you. We ask that your sacred beauty and purity be revived within us and within earth. Tlazokamate, aho.
Oh.
Turning to the north now. Hamwe, Hamwe, Hamwe. Come, Nahuelito Ik. Come, sacred breath of life. Come, Pachamamita, Santa Tierra Madre, our sacred Earth Mother. We ask that the sacred spirits of the mineral kingdom, of the plant kingdom, that the standing ones of earth, the trees, our brothers and sisters, unite with us in this medicine space. Come, Tezcatlipoca, sacred black jaguar of the north. Miklan Tecutli, Miklan Siwal, sacred energies, masculine and feminine, who guard the gates of our ancestors. We call the Yapanmail Kukuna, our ancestors, Yapanin Kakuna, the luminous ones, and the sacred Apus, the mountain spirits of North America, to join with us here in this medicine space. Help us to embody and embrace this sacred wisdom, this sacred medicine, the ancestral wisdom. Atun Siwarquenti, sacred hummingbird of the north, help us to connect with our ancestors. We ask that you guide us along this path of our heroes, our heroines' journey. Through all adversity, may your sacred light shine through the darkness. Tlaso Kamate, Aho.
Oh.
Now the east. Hamwe, hamwe, hamwe. Come, Nahuelito Apu, Nahuelito Acabal. Come, sacred and shining dawn star, bringing new beginnings into our lives as we move forward along the path of our highest destiny. We ask for the sacred energies of the Aposhin, Kuntur, Tecolote, Gavilan, and Cuervo, the sacred energies of the eagle, the condor, the owl, hawk, and the raven to reside here with us in this medicine space. Come, Mamita Waira, sacred breath of the Creator. Quetzalcoatl, Siwa sacred masculine and feminine serpent energy of life, of creation and healing. Come, we also invite the sacred Ehekats, the four winds. Sente Ehekat, east wind. Yenta Ehekat, south wind. Onte Ehekat, west wind. Nawile Hekat, north wind. We welcome you into this sacred medicine space. We meet with you here, and we thank you for all blessings given us, large and small. We ask for new beginnings in our lives. We ask that you guide us with your light along the good red road. Keep our feet on this path. Keep our hearts strong and committed, devoted to this sacred medicine, not only for ourselves, but for the greater good of humanity. Tlaso Kamate, Aho.
Oh.
Now we call in the energies of Uhu Pacha, of the underworld. Hamwe, hamwe, hamwe. Come, Atun Waskarinka, Lord of death and Lord of life. Come, sacred energies, grandmothers. Come, Pachamamita, Klali Tonansin, Klali Koatlikwe, sacred earth mother and mother of the cosmos, you who gave birth to all living beings throughout the cosmos. We welcome you into this space. Tlate Kutli, first earth, pristine earth, Bukubli Winkilau Limai, the seven sacred allies and energies of the tobacco. Come, Winkilau Lishamlel, Winkilau Lishbok, Winkilau Lish Kawilau, Winkilau Lish Shail, Winkilau Lish Muel, Winkilau Lish Sibel, Winkilau Lish Musike. We give our thanks, our honoring to the earth, you who sustain us, you who nurture and love your children. We thank you, grandmothers, and we ask that the sacred and divine order of the rose, that all of the goddesses, Throughout the history of all traditions sacred here upon earth, join us here in this medicine space. For we revive the divine feminine this day upon earth within ourselves, that we may come into an era of peace, of beauty, of healing for humanity and all life here upon earth. Tlaso kamate, aho.
Oh,
Now we call to the energies of Hanan Pacha of the upper world. Hamwe, hamwe, hamwe. Come, sacred energies of the upper world of the cosmos, we invite you to join with us, unite with us here in this sacred medicine space. Come, Atum Pachakuti, sacred gatekeeper of our future. Gran Ahau, Gran Ometeot, Gran Viracocha, Mother, Father, Creator. Tonalcate Kutli, Tonalcasiwal, divine masculine and feminine. For we acknowledge that we are the sacred Trinity, Mother, Father, and Child. Come, sacred Kurakakuyek. We ask the sacred ascended masters of all lineages and traditions here upon earth to join with us as well in this sacred medicine circle. Come, Lioshlahu Chikutankil. We call the 13 allies of the light, Kawatohil, Kawa Avalish, Kawa Akavitz, Kanaish Piakok, Kanaish Mukane, Sha'an Ishkik, Sha'an Ishpalanke, Tepeu Gukumats, Balam Kitse, Balam Akab, Ik Balam, Bukub Akpu, Inti Sol, Sacred Spirit of the Sun, Mama Kia, Sacred Spirit of the Moon, Atun Shaskakuna, our sacred brothers and sisters of the Star Nation. We welcome you into this medicine space. We open our heart centers to receive your wisdom, to receive your guiding light. And we thank you for all your blessings. We ask that you continue to guide us along the path of our highest destiny with your sacred light. Tlaso kamate aho.
oh,
And one more direction, our heart center within the seventh direction. Hamwe, hamwe, hamwe. We call to the divine I am presence within us, to the creator who resides within us, the invincible warrior, the invincible warrioress who knows no defeat, who faces obstacles and sees only opportunities. We call to our guardian angels and our spirit guides to continue to guide us on the path of our highest destiny, that we may fulfill our soul's purpose for being here on earth at this critical juncture, this critical time in history of earth and humanity. Tlasokamate, aho,
oh.
wopila tankashila, aho, mitakeasin.
Wopila homadakia.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Beautiful sister, Armana. So well in depth. That's meditation for me too. Gracias, from me, con todo mi corazón, with all of my heart. So yes,
Igualmente, same to you.
thank you. Um, so, um, we are here, and let me and come back down to earth for a second. Regain myself. So, um, shout out to, I saw Lucia Lopez with Loose Indigenous Healings LLC is on here. Um, Great work she does with the La Raza community and other communities. I believe with Natalie Cruz and them over there. Um, House of the 13 Eagles. and the rainbow communities involved around there. She had linked me this. I believe it was her a while back. And I look at this every morning, and we talked about this a little earlier. I can't see myself again. I'm blacked out. I did not drink today. Once again, win, win, win. Uh, I can't tell you the last time I have. So, um, today is the day of this. Can you see this? So this is the archetype and symbol for the energy of today. If I pronounce this correctly, then woo, Wakiba Kobal is today's energy, and it says that Wakiba Kobal represents light and dark, two opposing yet harmonious energies that complete each other from a whole. Similarly, Every, every human being carries opposing characteristics seeking integration to experience wholeness. We must approach ourselves honestly, shedding light onto these aspects we need to observe and address rather than remaining in unconscious patterns as we identify and inhabit what we feel, what we bring into a state of harmony. Yet we we can't deny or reject these aspects. They return more persistently, and instead of finding harmony and wholeness, we become further entrapped in conflict. Let us honor and work with the energy of that part of ourselves, for it shapes who we are and unlocks the possibilities of what we can become. So that sounds like shadow work 101 to me. That is beautiful. Great for today. Um, and a just I watched a movie last night, which was it was pretty wild. It's called Heretic. It's like a spiritual horror movie. I had nightmares last night, and the ways I've learned from many different traditions to do dream work, allowed me to work through those nightmares and those shadows. And there's some more shadows I got to work with in my dreams last night. There's a lot of people that have died from addictions and overdoses in my dream. I'll keep this short. In my dream last night, I was in the ghetto in the hood with all my dead friends, all my dead homies. They were all doing drugs and partying, but all these are all guys that died from drug abuse and women, but they would not offer me any in my dream. So I was like, "Ooh, is this the feathered serpent gets the calo? Is it working with me in my dreams? Maybe not. Maybe it's my subconscious awareness and the theta beta alpha wave state, whichever one I was in, and then I had a more ethereal dream, right before I woke up to do this podcast with you, which was a lighter dream, which brought me back to here we are. Life is but a dream. And we get to talk with Cat Marquez on this Sky Game platform. Beautiful day, the sun's shining. So first and foremost, like, who are you, Cat? Like, we get introduce yourself just like as a in persona on social media here. Like, who are you as a person before we get into the archetypal aspects of maybe traditional roots and ideologies and stuff like that?
I'd be happy to touch base on that. So I've been on my own personal spiritual path for a little bit over 15 years now. And I have developed into the curandera, the healer that I am now. I am curandera and maestra. So I'm healer and teacher. And
Mm,
I heal and I teach in the sacred traditions of the ancient Mayan people, the ancient Mexica people of Mexico, Central America, as well as the Andean traditions in Peru, South America, Bolivia, that area, excuse me, of the world. And curanderismo it's a very powerful healing modality that helps us to heal not only at the physical or mental level, but on all dimensions. So at the spiritual level, at the level of the soul, as well as the emotional, mental, physical levels. As a shaman, I'm working at all of those levels, within all of those dimensions, in order to affect healing. And as we probably know, most of us on this podcast, healing is a journey. It's a process. It's not an event. Unfortunately, we just don't hit the go button and we're there.
Or the destination, right? It's not about the destination, it's about the journey. I found that out the hard way many times. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. And so a lot of things that we do as curanderas, as shamans, are really complementary to allopathic medicine, to our current mental health medicine industry, because we're working within all of those dimensions. So let me give you a couple of examples what I mean by that. As I'm working with a client, I could be guided to do many things. Maybe a soul retrieval. Maybe I'm guided to work on generational trauma to help them heal. Because as we know, generational trauma follows us through
Mm-hmm.
our lineage, either maternal or paternal lineage. I could be guided to assist a client with annulling an old unhealthy soul contract and establishing a new healthy, life affirming contract. Maybe energetic cords need to be cut. Maybe karma needs to be annulled. Maybe I need to work with that lineage. Maybe there's a trauma bond between that client and their parent, and that trauma bond has been following both of them for many, many lifetimes. So healing is much more profound than what we tend to think of here in dominant society, that get your pill, take your pill, and everything's going to be fine. It really is much more, it's much more profound than that.
Yeah, clarity. I see. So you talked a little bit about the Andean, not Indian, monkey,
Munaiki.
munaki. Okay. How do those correlate together? Thank you for correcting
So
me.
the word or phrase Munai Ki, Munai means love, Ki means power. So the traditions of the Andean Munai Ki, let me give you a little bit of historical perspective. These traditions were held very close to the chest, hundreds, thousands of years ago, and they were only passed down from shaman to their students.
Mm.
And then when the conquest happened and the conquistadores came over and all the genocide and destruction started happening, these people, the Quero people, fled to the heights of the Andes and they still live there today. So in 1989, shamans throughout South America met because they knew that we were coming into a cycle of time called the Pachacuti. And this is an ancient prophecy that was given to humanity over 500 years ago, which speaks to the time that we're living in now. Pachacuti, again, is the prophecy. Pacha meaning earth, Kuti meaning turning upside down. So it means the earth is
Mhm.
turning upside down.
Right, right. It goes back to that saying, is your life up right, upside right, or upside down? And like perspective comes there.
Yes. And so that prophecy references this time that we're living in now. We are currently living in a time where we are on the threshold of two great eons of time, two great cycles of time. And we're smack dab in the middle, we being earth and humanity. So one cycle of time was ruled by wars, violence, iniquity, defilement of women, you name it.
Mm.
But we're now moving into a new earth, which is going to be governed by peace, love, munai. But right now, earth and humanity is right on the threshold of right in between these two great eons or cycle of time. And those of
Ooh.
us that have decided to reincarnate at this time have done so for a purpose, and that is to guide, to heal ourselves as well as guide humanity forth. So we've got
Mm.
to awaken to that true purpose or that calling. So I go back to 1989. And again, this is when shamans throughout South America met because they knew we were coming into the Pachacuti, this period of time for Earth and humanity. And that unless they released the Munaiki rights and wisdom, humanity's not going to make it. So,
Okay, so you're talking about in 1989. You're talking about a technological. I mean, a technology revolutionized during there. We went through looking at La Musica and Musica. We went through cassette tapes to CDs to iPods to like micro discs to like DVDs to now we have Netflix. Now we have everything on Spotify, YouTube, anything in abundance just from a phone. So this is a big technology era, especially for the people out in California and Silicon Valley, and like I've said this before, Sadhguru, if you know him, one of the Eastern Guru teachers, talks about using the tool, the phone and social media and platforms as a tool. Why not use it to spread awareness? Now, no. Some people might be like, blackmailed, or some people might be like, no, this is too sacred, no one we're gatekeeping this to you have to climb your way into the Andes mountains to talk to the people to receive the energy of Munaki. uh and that's how it used to be, but it's not like that today. So this goes into something I was talking about with you the other day, which is like, how do I embody this moonlight key, this beautiful love and light energy passed down through lineages of Azteca, Mexica, Mayan, maybe Toltec. How do I embody that to for the children of the earth, our descendants that are coming through us, active or passively, right? To take this, everyone's staring at their phone 50% of the day. That's the truth if they have one. It seems like, and it's an addiction, something you'll look at later. Is this something I can do through Kapuli? Or no? Or how?
yes, and in answer to your question, Jason, yes, this is something that um, you can learn through my course. I teach two courses. One is a Rainbow Bridge Moon Key course. And this
Mm,
course is there to empower you, to help you to understand your true potential and your abilities to heal and to bring healing into the world. So during this course, I am teaching and giving a lot of the ancient wisdom from many different traditions and cultures: Tibetan, Mexica,
mm.
Mayan, Andean, Greek, Hermeticism, a lot of many different
Ah,
cultures
yes.
and traditions to help you to start embody and embrace this wisdom. We learn about the angelic realm. We learn about sacred geometry because, as you probably know, there's a lot of occult meaning behind sacred geometry that most people are not aware of at all. So, once we
Right,
become
right.
aware of this, it helps us to start to connect, to start to become aware. Oh, it's much bigger than just me and what I want from Amazon, right?
Which Amazon are you talking about? Yeah.
Yeah, I guess we could be looking at two different Amazons there. I'm talking about the technological one. And
I know, I
the
know.
point that you brought up about how since 1987, technologically, we've been advancing at very fast rates, right? And
Mm,
we're now looking at AI becoming into, AI is coming in as a phenomenon that never existed before. And we want to ensure that technology and AI is governed by ancient wisdom. Because if
mm.
ancient wisdom and ethics are not governing our technological advancements and artificial intelligence, we can end up, we as humanity, can end up in a very precarious position.
Okay, I see you, and I listened to everything you said. So a spark struck my mind, like Tupac would say. That spark is gonna struck someone's mind, straight to someone's mind, and maybe he can do it, and that's where that chispa thing that Lucia talks about. So, uh, there's a movie out there on Netflix called The Lost Children. It's a documentary of children. This is a real story. And they kind of like fancy it up to make it more fun, but it's real footage of kids, maybe a little older kids and a few little younger kids of a family that crash in an airplane in the Amazon jungle. That's why I'm like, which Amazon, right? So and the Colombian military worked with some of the indigenous tribes in this documentary movie. It's called The Lost Children. Shout out to Taryn. Thanks for introducing me to that. Um, uh, and they were like, no, they're boom boom. I would the indigenous tribes were using like limpia smoke cleansings and all the things that are like woo woo yak tail stuff, right? You know who
Mhm.
you are, and it's like there we don't we believe in Cristo. The conquistadors already turned them into Catholic. We believe in the one and only holy way, and these people are coming through the jungles trying to find lost children in the Amazon forest, which is so vast, blowing cigar smoke into the plants and trees and taking ayahuasca to direct them like this plant medicine, like drinking this weird stuff, and then they found that humor to be where the Colombians didn't want to work with them. The tribes, the indigenous people did not want to work with the military or the government. But one of the guys in the Colombian military, he's like this menta, the mint. I could see where you guys are right with this plant stuff because it makes my breath still a little bit fresh. And they start laughter is the best medicine, right, Buddha? So they started to come together and work together. Now, if people could watch that movie, The Lost Children, it's a real story, documentary style, with a little pizzazz on it. That might give some awareness to how what you're talking about may be able to go beyond its impossible and manifest itself to where we can co-create with the government, with the militaries, with the people, the powers that be, um, as light workers, healers, and or indigenous shamanic women, men, tribes, nations that believe in these woo woo yaktel type of stuff ways, which actually was the reason how I don't want to spoil the movie, but it was the main reason why they were able to have success in that movie. So The Lost Children. So and that is a lot talks about a lot of stuff you were mentioning. So I want to ask you, Munkai, it sounds just like a bunch of activation to me for love and light. And can you tell me in your course, which I did sign up for, um, and I understand it's in person in Denver, Colorado, or you can do it online. So I may have to do it that way, considering things are changing in my life. But you said Kapuli teachings is offered. What is Kapuli to you? Meaning, and I mean, I know you could probably maybe dive deep and talk on hours about it, but like in short terms, honoring time and space at a linear level. What I know you have to be places, but what does that mean to you? What is Kapuli?
Yes, I'd be happy to dive into that a little bit. So before I dive into Kapuli, just finishing up the Munai Key a little bit. So in the Munai Key course, not only are you receiving the ancient wisdom from these many different traditions, sacred geometry, angelic realm, but I'm also transmitting 10 ancient sacred energetic attunements, and
Mm,
these energetic attunements help us to heal. They raise the vibration of our etheric body. They help us
Ooh.
to embody and embrace this sacred medicine because it's very different than the knowledge, the learning that we do in the linear world. We tend to think, well, if I've got all those facts memorized and I know it theoretically, I've got it. I've got it, right?
Right.
But in this world, it's much different than that. We've got to embody and embrace this medicine. We've got to truly become this medicine. And this is what this course helps you to do. Also, just mentioning that you also have lifetime access to all of the documents and videos that are associated with each class on my portal. So,
Okay, so
very, very beautiful.
they're very, yeah, it sounds very bonita, very beautiful, bonito, bonita, for whoever receives. Uh, I have you have a link somewhere. Maybe I can post in the comments for anybody on replays or anybody watching later or now, that want to check this out. It drew my eye. I was like, click, 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 let's go. Once I read it, so you're talking about these ancient traditions. Do they root from the Andean, but what about the ancient teachings of Inca? Does that correlate with Munkai?
Very much so. It's the descendants of the Inca who keep the traditions of the Munaiki, and
Munaiki?
they're the Quero people of of South America. Most of them
Okay.
reside in Peru,
Mm,
Ecuador, Bolivia, in those countries. And something that you were talking about when you were mentioning the lost children, and you referred to the people, the military who were more Catholic, not wanting to initially work with the indigenous people, and then they started kind of working together. That's
yeah.
exactly where we need to get to as humanity.
Right.
And this is the beautiful medicine that curanderismo encompasses because it's a blend, it's a mixture of the First Nation, the indigenous medicine, Catholicism due to the conquest and the history
Mm,
of that. You know, there's still their Catholicism is blended in there. The African traditions coming from
yes.
Western Africa, when when the African people were brought over to the Americas, they, of course, outwardly, in order not to be persecuted, they practiced Catholicism, but secretly
Mhm.
they still practiced their own faith.
Right.
And
You're
so
talking. You're
Curanderismo is a blend of all that.
So Croandaismo is healing modalities basically of like Catholic systems mixed with Afro-Cuban, Mesoamerican, Mexica, Mayan, Azteca, all this stuff together. Um, and you see that actually when you saw the conquistadors tried to take over, what was it, Cuba or Puerto Rico, one of those places. No, it was the Haitian, and they were using their indigenous ways, which were very powerful. And the kings, the queens, the military of the conquistadors, however you describe up there, were getting sick because they were using the power of protection of voodoo, or and not necessarily hoodoo or voodoo. I don't know, but that's it with right intention, and an embodiment of maybe monarchy. They were protecting their people from people trying to conquer what they loved, their families. The pillage, the rape, the slavery, the freaking boarding homes, and the conversions of Catholicism. So in honor of the beauty of Catholicism, that like that's what they do up there, and nobody knew about that yet. There's still a light frequency to be honored through Cristo, and like I see how like they may practice with the saints underneath. Um, um, with the respect and honor to Cristo, to keep the traditions alive, and it's a unionization that happens, right? Um,
Yes.
yeah, so I find that very interesting, and they use their indigenous ways they eventually had to surrender. And the Haitians, I believe the Haitians, and then that's when it all started. But their powers did work. Unfortunately, they're probably outnumbered, most likely, considering the size of the Europe and conquistadors compared to that tiny little place on the map. So that's some very interesting stuff for historically, and also like with the roots of indigenous wisdom and then embodying spiritual energy. But why do I embody it? What is my purpose? What is my intention? Is it for negative? Is it to be cursed or hexed? Is it to be given light and reflection of love and abundance for people to grow prosperous, to help in an altruistic way? Is it to lift people up? So it could, that's why this reading for today's energy was beautiful. It's 11:13. I love that beautiful divine feminine number. Today in the Mayan energy, the Wakiba Kobal was talking about that, looking at the shadows, the two dark opposing harmonious energies that complete each other, like the yin and the yang. You know what I mean? And so you were talking about working with a little Eastern stuff also, which I find beautiful because some of my mentors are highly root from Dharma, um, not Buddhism, just the practices of Dharma, which is not a religion. It's just, like right mindfulness, right meditation, right tone of speech, right action, right compassion, right understanding. Now, remove the word right, just like you could replace that with positive. You could pray,
Hmm.
you could replace that with any word you want. Um, but we understand, like on a linear level, right and wrong is an individual's perspective on where they get their information from. And you were talking about like, yeah, okay, now they get, oh, I got all this knowledge. I know what to do with it. It goes back into think for there I am. No, 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 no. It's we've got that reversed. After my 3 month stay in Mexico, I had a reversal done to me through Tesmazcales, through many sweat lodge down there, through different ceremonies, static ceremonies, a sound bath, this and that, staying in the jungle with no cell phone access, just a backpack, maybe la guitarra, I found that I've been told this, but I found this energetically that we as westernized conditioning, um, the systems that have conditioned us here in the US, a uh, beautiful, beautiful place to live, although it has reversed us because I don't think first. If I have all this knowledge, I can think for there I am and manifest whatever I want. But it's not rooting from the Gaia, from the Pachamama, or however you say in your tradition, through through the roots of the earth, going through my chakra systems, going through my
Yeah.
solar plexus, through my heart, through my neck, the throat chakra, through the mind's eye, and then the ethereal realms into the star seeds of star people, and you go into 7 and 13 chakras in Native American culture if you want. Um, so before I can speak or even think, I must feel what the energy is coming through. Energy is everything. Like we are our energetic bodies, our frequencies of light, you wanted to talk about, I believe, at one point there was a question I had for you, um, about the nervous system, and like that's something I am highly aware of, but maybe not as much aware of you. It's how the nervous system is affected, um, through maybe your practices at your healing clinics starting in January and February, um, which we can talk about that later or post about something that about that later if you want. If I can do that for you. But how does like how do I reset my nervous system or maybe rewire yet my subconscious, or in those ways, um, to be unconditioned by what I may have not been aware of as a 3 year old child, as a 9 year old, like just believe this is what it says in the book and that's what it is.
Yeah.
Now, how, or how, or my nervous system goes to anxiety, PTSD, traumatic experiences. You look and go diving into many different realms of experience. How does one reset the nervous system in the ways that you honor?
Okay, so that's a really good question, and I'd like to elaborate on that and begin with talking a little bit about what you just mentioned, about energy and about perspective, because that's all very important. And it's important for us to understand that here in the Western world, in dominant society, we function, we perceive in a very different way than most of the people of the First Nations. Because here in the Western world, in dominant society, we tend to only function in linear time, in that type of time that flows like an arrow, right?
Mhm.
I'm born, I grow older, I die, and I'm always in that linear time, which is associated with the left hemisphere of the brain: ego, reasoning, logic, strategic thinking. And
Mhm.
we only use the left hemisphere of the brain here in our society. We're not trained to use the right hemisphere of the brain. Okay. So when we're functioning only in linear time and with that perspective of the left hemisphere of the brain, we're actually debilitated, because linear time is governed by the principles of fate, karma, causality, cause and effect, what goes around comes around, and
Uh-huh.
probability. I'm probably always going to be poor. I'm probably never going to find love. I'm probably always going to be in a have a bad job, right? So we're looking at we're looking at being powerless because we're living in
Ooh.
the linear time and within linear world versus the people of the First Nations who use both hemispheres of the brain and
Mm.
are able to, and have for millennia since the time of their ancestors, been able to journey, been able to connect with circular time, with the spirit world, and truly they have that ability to use both hemispheres of the brain. Now, what we want to understand is that circular time is governed by a whole different set of principles, universal principles. Instead of fate, if I'm stepping into these higher perspectives, now my life is governed by my destiny, not by fate. And I'm able to choose my destiny. I'm able to
Mm.
find my destiny and determine, okay, I'm not on the right road. I'm going to get over here.
I'm gonna jump. I'm not the straight way, the left way, or the right way, or the on the left.
Exactly.
But it's funny you mentioned the right and the left brain because I really resonated with that. And in high school, I almost didn't graduate, but I got an A+ in every single art class, and I failed politics, deeply failed politics. I had no interest in it, and all those type of classes.
Yeah.
Um, so like I'm more of a right brain thinker, obviously. If I was to personify myself as like a musician or an artist or a painter or a draw, like I would rather do that than go talk about who's winning the election or the debate. I don't care. In Mexico, I come back and there's all these stories. After 3 months of the election, what's going on? And did you know there's this dance, this Trump dance? And I'm like, well, I didn't even watch TV for 3 months. Like I am so disconnected, and so it was a blessing for me because like my right brain was like some divine intervention that made sure I did not watch any TV except the 49ers for like 30 seconds at a bar on the beach when I was just watching from a distance. That's my team, but like you know, it was a blessing in disguise, and I returned in much different state, similar to what you say, maybe not fully adopted and 100% whole yet. I had to do some cleansings here to that I wasn't comfortable coming back here. I didn't feel as safe, and like the energy was weird. It was like
Yeah.
controlled. Yeah, it was like these airways from the airport and the Uber ride home. I'm like, so it just felt like this. So this down there it's like
You can
magic.
feel
It's
it.
like yeah, it's
Yeah.
everywhere. Like everyone believes in magic. Everyone knows the truth. Everyone knows. Maybe 93% are blind. Maybe 93% know the truth. Who knows the facts? But like, proof's in the pudding. And I felt it. I was the freest I had ever been, and I come back here, and I almost fell into being a
Yeah.
prisoner of my own devices. So I had to emancipate myself from my own mental slavery. Once again, shout out to Bob Marley for that saying, and find out, go through some Olympia, some cleansing, some ceremonies, sacred Sundays, loose indigenous healings, death cafe, and Arvada, some ecstatic dance with Mustafa over at Curious Cat Lounge. Like I had to calibrate that energy that I brought back
Yeah.
with me, because like I almost lost it because of whatever's going on. I can't explain. Goes into chemtrails and this and that, and controlling environmental stuff. And when I was in HVAC, it's heating, ventilation, and air conditioning school in Texas, my teacher said global warming is a hoax. It's a bunch of crap.
Mm.
He claimed to be the biggest Christian Jesus guy, whatever. But like he it's all, I believe him. He was 93 years old, my teacher in HVAC school and trade school, and he had more energy than a 13-year-old child. I do not in myself. I had no idea how this even works. Was it Cristo? Was it just who he was? But he was speaking facts. He's like, whenever anyone brings up global warming, it's a hoax. So like that might be something. I don't want to dive into conspiracies here and get off topic, because that will, we don't really know, but things are arising, and the truth is being finally revealed to us. Finally, like someone, the media, the TV, the conditioners are maybe deceiving with a little bit of lies and truth, but they're giving us some facts, showing us the truth. But what lies behind the scenes, which goes into like, have you seen the movie Heretic? Watched that last night, a spiritual horror movie. Thank you for that. Who showed me that? It's like the manipulation. Now, manipulation is similar to alchemy. If you talked about the Hermetic laws and stuff, Trismegistus, and then you go into John Dee and all of those things, the alchemizing of energy. I wrote a book called Energy, Alchemize Your Energy, and outdated, obsolete, but I have grown since then. Although here we are, and manipulation and alchemy is it's just similar words, which is why I was like, English language is kind of, it has those spells like good morning, like that morning hits some people's conscious subconscious that don't understand, like, oh, a morning because I have to wake up. When you're in Mexico, it's like buenos dias,
Yeah.
like this, they changed into great rising, grand rising now, and all this new age woo woo yak tail stuff, which is beautiful. and but I fell in love with the language down there because it's expression, and like you feel it. The people are so happy. It's like you walk around the streets in these little pueblitas and pueblos, and it doesn't matter if you know the person or not. You say hola, buenos dias, buenas tardes, hey, and it's just like I don't
Very
even
different
know this.
environment.
I don't know them. I have here. I'm like, I don't know you. I don't want to talk to you.
Yeah,
Like,
it's a very different environment, definitely. And I hear what
yeah.
you're saying with energy. We have to understand that energy is coming from many different sources: media, TV, movies, friends, family, environment. And and I think you touched a little bit on this. It's our intention. Our intention is so powerful. That is how we direct energy, through our intention. Our intention could be to do harm, it can be to do good. So we want to ensure that our intention is where it needs to be first and foremost, because that directs energy. And I'm getting back now to what I was talking about the two different sides of the brain and perspectives. So as we're connecting more with circular time and the spirit world, we're looking at being governed by a whole different set of principles. Auspicious synchronicity. Now, instead
Mm.
of fate and karma governing my life, now I'm in the right place at the right time, getting the right information, hooking up with the right people and resources. Everything is just happening.
So
And
what do you mean for people that may not know, like myself? It's so I don't have to Google it. What does auspicious mean to you?
auspicious means blessed. So
Mm.
synchronicities, blessings are starting to happen in your life. Your needs are starting to be met. You're not having to struggle as much because now you're
Wow. Okay.
balanced and you're aligned with the universe. Does that make sense?
Auspicious synchronicity is exactly what's unfolding right now. I just love that word. I'm applying it to my vernacular at the moment. That's thank you for that. Learned
You're
something new
welcome.
today
You're
and a
welcome.
bunch of other things.
And now we're stepping into possibility instead of probability.
Mm.
Now and anything is possible when we're connected with the spirit world. We are actually co-creators.
Mm-hmm.
And then I want to just get back to your question about resetting the nervous system and about stress,
Yes.
because stress is very, very prominent here in our dominant society. Most of us are stressed out 24/7. Now, if we look at indigenous societies, First Nations, the few that are left that have very little exposure to dominant society, they don't have the suicides, the mental health issues, all the physical issues, the heart attacks, the high blood pressure, everything, the cancers, everything that we have here in our society, right? So, why is that? Well, there are many reasons. Of course, there are many variables. We're exposed to a lot of toxins. We know that our earth, we know
Yes.
that our waters are polluted. We know the air that we breathe is polluted. There are many, many variables, but one of the most important ones is stress. Because the way the Creator made us, we were only meant to be in stressful situations for very short periods of time when we're hunting the buffalo, when we're running from the
Mm.
lion. But then the rest of the time, we're meant to just, our system is meant to just chill so that we
Yeah.
can connect with circular time, with the spirit
Mm.
world, with where we come from and who we are. And what happens in our dominant society, because we are, I see Alex there. Right on, Alex. What happens here in our dominant society, because we're stressed out 24/7, the adrenal glands, which sit on top of our kidneys, are pumping out those stress hormones, epinephrine, adrenaline, cortisol, 24/7. They're circulating in our bloodstream. They go to our brains. They damage the brain. They damage
Mm.
the amygdala. They
Mm.
damage the creative parts of our brain
The
that are
frontal cortex. Yeah.
right, that are able to connect with circular time and the spirit world. And then we're stuck, we're only in the linear world, and
Mm.
in those two lower perspectives, levels of perspective and consciousness, those linear levels where we're victims, we're powerless, we're living within, again, fate, probability, causality, and karma, which is where
Mm.
most of humanity lives, right? Perceives from. But there
Mm.
are two higher levels of consciousness and perception. All of what I'm saying here, I teach in my classes and much, much more. Because the class that I'm talking about, the Moon Key class, is a 6-week course that's a total of 18 hours of instruction. So there's a
Mm.
lot that we're not going to be able to get to here today.
And it's what's good. What's great about that for y'all number freaks is that 8 plus 1 is 9. 2025 adds up to 9. This next year, it's the number of new beginnings and letting go of the past. So what a
Exactly.
beautiful time to do that. And 18 hours of study and learning from you. That's gonna be great for whoever gets involved. I will most likely have to do it from my phone because I have things planned and cannot attend in person. So there is two options, right? You can do for phone or in persona in person
Well,
in Denver, Colorado.
mhm,
So wonderful. I'll post that if you give me a link later. Um,
I sure
yeah.
will. Yeah. And
So
you can
you
connect
talk.
from, I'm sorry, go ahead,
I'll
Jason.
go. Well, you go
I
ahead.
was
You
just
can
going to
kind of.
say you can connect from anywhere in the world online, but in person, Denver, Colorado. Yeah.
Awesome, awesome, great, great.
And I just wanted
So
to, I'm sorry, Jason, just wanted to
keep
touch
going,
base real
keep
quick
going.
on conditioning
Yes,
because
yes.
a lot of times we don't realize how much conditioning, social conditioning plays in our lives. That from the
Mm-hmm.
time we're born, we're conditioned to by our families, by our society, government, educational system, media, and we are conditioned to perceive, to believe, to think in certain ways. Okay, and one example of that is Darwinism. I think we
Mm,
all learned about Darwinism in school, and when I bring this
right.
up with my students, it sounds like they're still teaching Darwinism, even though the scientific community has actually proved that everything Darwinism teaches and espouses is incorrect. So,
Have you have you heard about the stoned ape theory, which adds to Darwinism?
I don't know that I've heard of that theory.
So basically, it implies that caveman, yet monkey or whatever, who got to it first, picked up a magic mushroom in the forest. In the Bible, they call it manna, the story of where Moses was worshiping the volcanic god, Vulcan god, and God was like, "Eat this, and your people won't starve." And they were mushrooms, my psychedelic mushrooms, and so an ape ate a mushroom, and it was like, get the universe light codes, downloads, boom, boom, and now there's the evolution. It's a stone date theory. Uh, it's interesting. I mean, because the mycelium network is really what runs everything. When we die, we go back into tierra, to the dirt, to Pachamama, and we become the trees. We become everything else, and to the mold that creates these fungi. So like and before there was ape or human or caveman or dinosaur, whatever came first, reptilian, who knows? Get into Anunnakis and stuff like that. But like it was nature, right? Maybe, and there might the theory may be right, but I don't have a time machine yet.
Yeah, so it's about opening up and being willing to receive, because again, that conditioning is so powerful. It's with us since the time we're little, right? One of the ways that we're conditioned is through the strategy of division. We've all heard of that strategy, divide and conquer, right?
Mm-hmm.
And even from the time that we're born, we are divided. You're a boy, you play with these toys, you wear these clothes. You're a girl, you play with these toys, you wear these clothes. We go to school. Oh, that other school is the rival. And we're always conditioned to see ourselves and the other. And we've really got to get past that today. We've really got to start seeing us, the whole, instead of what we have been conditioned to believe through Darwinism, which tells us that, hey, it's survival of the fittest. And
Mm.
if we need to tromp on everyone else to get to the top of the ladder, that's okay. It's condoned by our society and it's actually promoted by our society, right?
How about alchemize that and it's survival of the fittest to recondition ourselves through these ways that you're talking about
Exactly.
without being distracted by the systems that governed them. And I do my own dominion inner engineering. It's survival the fittest within because there's a my shadows get pretty dark, and
They can.
yeah, they can, and without being aware of those, I don't want to project that onto anybody that doesn't deserve to feel some of my past PTSD traumas and or however they want to define me through psychiatric centers, you know.
Yeah.
Um, so I do
And
my
give definitions and roles and labels. That's another way to
mm,
condition, right?
yeah, totally. Even within the spiritual community, there's dividing and conquering and going on between like, no, this is the only way. You must serve through the Son of God first. And yeah, man, I root from being an ex-drug dealer. Like, I don't want to go through a middleman. I want to go straight to the source. Thank God
Exactly.
I'm not that person anymore.
Yeah. That's good, Jason.
Decades ago, there was a guy out there, you know, and thank you for the conditioning of the institutions that allowed me to take a look at myself. I was able to transform into something new for a higher purpose, and co-create with you here today. And I'm not out there in the streets causing harm, you know.
Yeah.
So uh,
And that brings to mind one thing too, Jason, is um, we, humanity, especially in recent times, has been trying to create great social change, right? We're marching, we're rioting, we're out there voting, we're out there signing petitions. And there's a lot of effort put forth on the part of many, but the result is very little change, positive change actually occurs, right?
okay,
What we want to understand is that in order to make great social change occur, we've got to connect at the energetic level, because it's the energetic level that controls all those other dimensions under it. And an example of that is the way that we're built as human beings, the way the Creator made us. We are made like those Russian nesting dolls. Are you familiar with those Russian nesting dolls that sit inside of each other? I don't know if
oh
you're
yeah,
familiar.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
They're
You
little
pop
wooden
them,
dolls. You
you
pop
pop them
them.
up 'em. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
That's
familiar.
the way
Yeah.
we're made. Okay. So the furthest dimension or sheath, realm, is our energetic dimension. Inside of that is our soul. Inside of that, the mental dimension, the emotional. Then the physical dimension is furthest inside. So by
Mm.
the time we start feeling something's wrong, I've got high blood pressure, whatever it might be, physically, emotionally, or mentally, it's already been an issue out in the energetic field for probably quite some time. So
Right. This
what
is
we
the,
do is
yeah.
I'm extracting the hucha energy, the dense intrusive energy, out of out of all those realms, and then bringing light energy in to ensure that that person has the best ability to
Mm,
move forward, to heal in life. And
mm.
so, whether we're looking at healing from an individual perspective, from the microcosm, or from the macrocosm as humanity, as the earth, as the cosmos, we need to understand that it's at the energetic level where the power is, because the energetic controls the linear, it controls all those other dimensions under it.
Right. So you're talking about in a scientific realm and a way of understanding through that quantum physics, micro and macro, micro being like subatomic atoms and particles and neurons, neutrons, protons, electrons at the micro, correct?
You could go that far down, sure. At the
And then
microcosmic level.
macro being that being the center core of every energetic system of our persona, our person, our human, our vessel, however you want to define, and everything else that exists and flows through us. So they're saying is that, does everything happen through you, for you, by you, or at you? No matter how you look at it, it's going to be for you, because if it happens at me, it's going to be negative, and then I'm going to have a lesson learned from it. If it happens through me, it's still for me, because I'm alive. It's something's happening through me. Thank God I'm still alive. That bullet didn't hit me in the head on the street. You know, what I mean, there's and then if it's happening at me, we got it, and for me, if you just dive straight to that, then like what's next is going to be amazing. I already know it's happening for me, whether it's good, bad, negative, positive, or however word you want to label it. It's going to be amazing, because I'm either going to learn a lesson, grow, evolve, understand, or create. And
And
like,
that's truly the process of healing, what you're talking about right there. We've got to forgive ourselves
mm,
and others,
mhm,
learn the lesson, grow from the lesson, implement change, and be of service to others.
yes,
Once we finish that, or we're in the process of that journey, because it's truly a journey, then we're starting to heal, and we're starting to live a whole nother life than we did 10 years ago or 20 years ago, whatever it might be. And we're powerful now. We can influence others, we can influence the world, because the future
mm,
is not for certain. We are actually here as co creators to create with the universe in order to bring forth this new world that's going to be sustainable and beautiful for ourselves and for others in the future.
Correcto, and you know, with great power comes great responsibility, as they say. I see you're wearing the Ankh necklace up there. I
Yeah.
just noticed it a while back. It's a powerful necklace in Egyptian studies. I don't know if we want to dive into that, but you did mention hermetic laws of
Mhm.
Trismegistus, and you talked about John Dee and any the alchemizer. All those things come. I love the roots of the Isis, the goddess of the underworld, and Egyptian facts and truth of the pyramids being center points with gold and water as conductors of current, of energy, of a conduit to the stars, to the sky people, to the what it Palladians, whatever you want to call them, aliens. Like who cares what you call them? It's an energy force that's up there, and the conquistadors come down and put these big. Beautiful, oh, they're so gorgeous. I saw them in person. Pictures on top of these pyramids down in Mesoamerica,
Yes.
because they knew the power of that. We're gonna tap in.
Yes.
It's like okay, it's almost like okay, that movie Heredit opened my mind last night. So like you look at the original the Monopoly game. There was a game before that made by some woman that would just wanted to make a game from the love of her heart, kind of like the Tesla and Einstein, like things like get passed down, ideas get stolen. But Monopoly saw that game, took the name, rechanged it, and became a millionaire, giving no credit to the original person. The person died off pretty much poor of money and never got their credit until this movie come out. I learned that Heretic, it's a horror story with spirituality mixed. Be careful if you watch it. Um, and it reminds me of that. It's like, oh, we're going to monopolize off of this freely given, not from the tribes or the people that understand it, from the earth, first and foremost. Like, we are all indigenous to Mother Earth. Doesn't matter what pigment or color or race we are.
Exactly.
But these people understand it. So we're going to go, but we see that they understand it somehow. Let's just place our stuff on top of theirs and monopolize. Monopoly.
Exactly.
It's
Yeah. The conquistadores, they were very well aware that whenever they saw an indigenous altar, a temple, a pyramid, that that is a power place energetically, that there's a vortex there,
mm,
that ley lines are probably coming up from the earth, that, and so they're conscripting it and they're making it theirs. They build their cathedrals on top of it or whatever they're going to do. And
yeah.
so, yeah, I mean, this is something, this violence, this destruction, this conscription of energy has been occurring for probably about 5,000 years or so now, since we shifted from a matriarchal structure to a patriarchal structure. And just this is something again that I'm teaching in my class. I'm going to just cover it real quickly here. But humanity, the first 200,000 years of our life, we were connected, directly connected to spirit. Okay. And we functioned on the principle of immanence. So we
Mm,
understood that God lives inside of me, inside of every living being, whether it's a butterfly or a tree or a star or a planet, whatever it might be.
mm,
And the culture within humanity was matriarchal. Okay. And we saw the creator as either mother or mother, father, God. Then humanity came to a place as we continued along our journey of polytheism. So now things start changing from matriarchal to patriarchal. Now we start worshiping all kinds of gods, but we no longer see God inside of us or inside of everything. Now we're functioning on the principle of transcendence, and we only see God out there on Mount Olympus or
Olympus.
or wherever, wherever the traditions are saying that the gods live, right? But they're no longer
Right, right.
inside of us.
Right. It's like we're looking out externally for an answer that's within. I totally see how this correlates with the matriarchetypal roots and what you're talking about, the past, and monotheism, which is there's only one way. But like
Right.
Buddha said right before he died, he was like, "Oh, I see that all these ways are all access to the same thing. There's nothing wrong with any of them." So, looking at the Pope, Francis is about to open up 5 portals, which I don't know if it's on these energetic grid systems with the pyramids and this and that, and the Catholic, beautiful, beautiful Catholic churches across the world. On Christmas Day, this is news, this is facts. You can find it on my feed. There's a link to it. May I find do your own research if you don't believe me. And what's the intention behind opening these portals on Christmas? And behind the scenes, and how can we as light workers work together with something so beautiful, pulling from the Old Testament is what they're saying he's doing. And like, I hope and pray with everything in my heart that it's for the greater positive change and manifesting of using unionization. But I highly disbelieve that's exactly what, and I believe it's more for modern day control and continuing to activate the conquistador within the power. But I pray with everything on myself that it's not. How do us light workers work with something like that that's about to happen, and to create a unionization of something that, like, hey, thank you for revealing the truth that the Bible is witchcraft, and it may be white or dark depending how you look at it. Thank you. The blood of Christ, the Eucharist, the bread, the body, that's a sacrament that I eat. What's different than that than putting an altar up and burning a candle while you're burning copal or smudging or
Yeah.
saging? You know, it's no
Important points.
different.
Yeah,
Yeah.
important points, Jason. And you spoke to monotheism, and that's exactly where humanity headed after polytheism. Now it's only one God, and that God's a man, right? and and something, this is also what I teach in my class, because I'm giving practical tools and resources. We've got to get beyond just knowing it here to embodying it, like I was talking about.
Yes.
So in terms of your question, well, what do I do? I'm feeling like something's wrong here. How do I connect? What do I do? And that's what I teach, because the time of the lone wolf is gone.
Lone wolf
Well,
tattooed on my fingers.
oh, really?
I can
Okay,
put a ring on it.
the time of the lone wolf is gone.
Lone wolf.
And that's one thing that us light workers have to understand. We are not individual units just sitting off over here somewhere. We've got to learn how to connect with the legions of light, with the whole, with other light workers, our brothers and sisters here on earth. And how do we do that? Through intention. It sounds difficult, but it's not.
Mhm.
And it's something that us light workers are just starting now to tap into. But it's the old statement, there's power in numbers. So instead of just me myself praying that the earth is going to survive and that everything's going to be okay, no, I'm going to meditate. I'm
Mhm.
going to intentionally connect with the legions of light that are here on earth right now helping humanity. They just want us to connect with them. We've got to reach out. We've got to connect. We've got to connect, like I said, with our brothers and sisters, our light workers like us throughout the world. That's where the power is. Again, at that energetic level. And then the influence will filter down through all those other planes of existence and ultimately affect in positive ways the linear world. Does that make sense?
But correct though, like clarity. Like I just drank some water and it reminded me. It's like I can set intention. Like if you see Dr. Emoto back in the studies of water under petri dishes, where
Mhm.
they put words and or music um to the frequency of water. And they looked at the molecular structures, or like snowflakes, where they're beautiful snowflakes of angelic kind of realms, and it's super goddessy, and like it looked like a fairy tale, and the other ones were like jagged and I put love and abundance and peace and
Yes.
harmony in this water. Thank you, thank
Charge
you.
your water. And we talk about that too. We talk about Dr. Emoto's research. We talk about epigenetics. We talk
Mm,
about how emotions, how our thoughts, our level of perception and consciousness actually affects our DNA and our health. how
Mm.
negative emotions, negative thoughts contracts our DNA, contracts the telomeres, those little tails that are on the edge of our on the ends of our chromosomes. And when that
Mm.
happens, it brings disease, right? It malady starts happening either at a physical, emotional, or mental level. But how the epigenetics, how our thoughts, our emotions, etc., our perceptions and our beliefs can also influence our DNA and our health in positive ways
Yeah,
and
so
can
you
expand DNA and bring health
yeah, exactly.
to the
So, like,
system.
a shout out to Ase Are Gold. He passed away. He tried to do breath work underwater. A surfer down in Australia. I took one of his classes. And it's a DNA breath work meditation. I got this tattoo for him, 444 on my hand, a favorite number. But he taught me a meditation. It was a DNA repair meditation where you're talking about all these energetic systems, similar to what you're talking about, but they're using more of like a Maori indigenous cultures down there and whatever else that's been brought to them. And you can those tails, what you call
Telomeres.
telomeres. Thank you for that word. Telomeres, the tails of cancer, basically, and DNA. We can shift our DNA through this breathwork meditation. And it's sober meditation. I've done plant meditation too before, which would made it easier to access sober, but it's another topic. I was able to leave my body and I saw the color blue. I was up in the sky realms. As much as I wanted to stay in this peaceful etheric realm and a state of etheria, I come back down. He's like, "You must return. You must regress. So you must come back down." I'm like, "No, no, no, no. It's so good. Come back down to your body." And why I'm up there? This may sound crazy local to some people, but like, um, something in my DNA is repairing in my vessel and my physical, my human body, because I am bringing back a new energetic frequency. And that
Yeah.
goes into cymatics and sound healing and using forks or healing bowls and or tuning your music to 432 for healing or 528 for miracles or like what's your intention. And I set my own intentions before this DNA meditation, and like and the podcast episode yesterday with Sadie, she uses a lot of that. I was sent a video by a friend of mine. She that proves facts that they have used sound healing to cure cancer, and I have this video. She may be still about beyond here. Shout out to you, Lucia Lopez. So it has been proven scientifically. So if a human can do that to another but human body to cure cancer with frequency waves and intention, imagine how we can do that to ourselves with breath work and meditation and activating with these ways that you teach in your class beyond knowledge that I have understood yet. I'm only on the tip of the iceberg to understanding like Kapuli and these activating all these 20 different uh 20 different ways or like what mahale or how do you say the archetype zodiac archetypes of
The Nawales.
Nawales, yeah, the Nawales, like so, some people aren't even aware. They just go by the basic zodiac. Oh, hey, I'm an Aries, I'm a Gemini. Oh, we let's get the app. We co-create or together, or we match together. Let's go on a date. No, it's not that simple and cute. There's much more to it. Did you know there is a Mayan Mahales, right?
Nawales.
Noales. Thank you for correcting me. There's 20 different zodiacs in that way, and they're beautiful. And mine it's pronounced T-Jax or it's spelled T-Jax or T-Haj, Tisha.
Hmm.
Um, you can learn this much more of this stuff through Natalie and Cruz, House of 13 Eagles. Google that, and or Facebook. Shout out to the Sacred Donut podcast. There's a bunch of great wisdom on there. I've heard with them to save us some time from diving into that
Yeah,
on a
that
linear
and
level.
it's beautiful medicine, the Mayan cosmology, and again, Natalie, my sister Natalie, does a beautiful job in her community as well with really helping people to heal, to develop these innate spiritual powers within them that help them to move forward to determine, well, what is my purpose here on earth? And she does a beautiful job
Mm.
of that. Her and her community are very devoted and dedicated to the advancement of humanity and earth. Yeah.
Yeah, the Denver, Colorado has something going on, man. I tell you what. So here as children of the earth, active or passive to this language we're speaking, like I understand through your ways that even more now, like and what I've already embodied through my knowledge and understanding and through my awareness of my feelings, that there's always work to be done, but there is mucho más, much more work to be done for me, which is why I signed up for your Kapuli sacred geometry class, Munaki
The
class is what.
Nike class. Uh-huh.
Okay, okay. Is that part of the Rainbow Bridge?
Yeah, that's one and the same. So two different classes. One is Rainbow Bridge Munaiki that we've touched on a little bit already. Anyone is invited to join those classes, either online or in person. They start in January, again, 6 weeks and 3 hour classes. And they're really going to give you a lot of information. I'm just touching the surface here on this podcast, but really going to help you to um, tap into that innate possibility that lies within you to heal, to bring forth your best, to make a difference in this world. Then
Nice.
the Kapuli. So Kapuli is a completely different course. And the Kapuli is a Mexica word that means group or community. And I have a Kapuli, which is basically an apprenticeship. So I have apprentices that are learning how to do what I do, learning how to do extractions, soul retrievals, cut cords, annul old soul contracts, annul karma, heal trauma bonds, all of the things that we just talked about. And the prerequisite for the Kapuli or the apprenticeship, which is a 15-month course in person, and we meet twice a month, the prerequisite is the Munaiki class. So you
Hmm.
had to have taken Munaiki in order to be in the Kapuli.
And do you get like Western certified for those people that don't believe in this yak tail woo woo stuff?
Do I get Western certified?
Like, do I get like a certificate so I could, if I finished all of it, so I can be like, oh, here's this 3D person that just speaks from the left brain, business grind, climb the ladder. That's all I know. Look, I got a certificate.
Yeah, I don't. I
Okay.
don't. I mean, people know what they know. They graduate from the course after 15 months. And I'm working on providing healing clinics for them to be able to hone those skills which they've learned in the Kapuli, and to provide the community with free service, free healing.
See, and
So
that's beautiful. I honor that you do not give a certificate because that's just like the peacocking thing. It's like, let me flash my degree from a PhD. Did you even know anything about the roots of being a doctor that they threw out the book of holistic health, which had to do with organics and all everything that's natural that comes from Pachamama Gaia Earth that can cure cancer, can be used, but we can't, and big pharma can't patent it because you can't patent a plant due to the laws and regulations of the USDA and FDA government. So like, okay, so like a lot of these doctors don't even know, but they'll flash around their degree and drive their Benz, which I love that for you. Serve your kids, feed your family, but like. There's a few out there I know personally. There's one personally that has studied the book that was thrown out, and it is all about does stem cell research, all about the organic movement of holistic health, and bringing back what was taken around the industrial revolution era, removed from doctorate school, to become to have letters in front of your name, 10-year class, right? So it studies in college, and I've had many conversations with her about that. Hopefully she jumps on here at one point. When she gets some time, she was saying, um, yes, very powerful woman. Um, my buddy's wife, and so this goes into many things of like there's other ways that why I honor that you're not giving a certificate because that's how traditionally it would be done in
Yeah.
Mesoamerica, South America. You don't need a certificate
You
down
don't need
there.
a piece of paper.
You know, you
Yeah.
need your energy. Like I can judge people before they talk. I can feel their energy. And I already know a bunch of bull junk's gonna come out of this person's mouth before they even say it. You know, it's
Yeah,
that.
a lot of times I find that the people with the certificates and all the suffixes in back of their names are sometimes still functioning at those lower levels of perception that we just talked about.
But we
So,
perceive it to be a higher
sure,
level. Look,
sure, in this linear world, we do. And again, getting back to potential, one thing I want to mention, we talk about this again in class, is DNA. We humans have 12 strands of DNA, but currently only 4 of those 12 strands are active. And that keeps us in the third dimensional world with the possibility to journey into the fourth dimension. But throughout the universe, we have 15 dimensions and beyond. So you can see that we need to activate those other strands, and we need to start connecting with the universe at these higher levels. And through the process of learning about the Zolkin, which is the Mayan calendar, the
mm,
Tonal Powali, which it's called in the Mexica traditions, we start to understand that this is more than a calendar. It's a resonant code of life. It's actually the DNA that our
mm.
ancient ancestors understood DNA, and they worked with it back then. We need to resurrect again these sacred tools in order to bring forth our innate potential and capability.
Right. Now you're diving into like the Gregorian calendar and the fake months of February and January, where not aren't even real months. They had been removed. That's another story. I have a Mayan
Yeah,
calendar, this green thing right here. But I mean, if you look at the Mayan calendar, the little I do know, it has the as above, so below on it, and it's and then it's talking about within as I see, and then you look into the zodiacs in the Mayan um energetic archetypes of how they describe Aries and the other world. It's all similar. um so you that is beautiful. That's something I would desire to understand more than just YouTube University or Gaia TV network. You know what I mean? What do you offer those is in your workshops or ceremonies, classes, whatever you are offering through? It's starting in January.
right. And so your question is, what do I offer? Or
Are you offering teachings of the Mayan calendar? What exactly is that symbol in there? Why is that right there? Why is that pointing that way? What does this little dragon represent? Is that Quetzalcoatl? Like what is Quetzalcoatl? Why is his tongue sticking out? Like there's so much to ask about the.
exactly. There is so much that we delve into in depth in order to start to begin to understand and embody what's the occult meaning behind these sacred geometrical figures we're seeing, or the Mayan calendar, the Zolkin. How do we use that in our life? How do we apply it? So it's more than just theoretically learning and absorbing a bunch of facts. How do we apply it? We learn about the hucha energy, the dense, intrusive energy that causes suffering on all
Mm,
levels, mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually. But not only do we learn about these energies, we learn how is it that we're vulnerable? How can,
mm.
if our field is infiltrated by these hucha energies, how can we get them out?
Okay,
So I'm
here's
always trying to empower people. I'm always
here's
we're talking about giving practical tools and resources, not just information.
okay. So you said maybe I just cosmic joke just came. kombucha. There's a hoocha in there. Maybe we need to start drinking and eating healthier and start put down the alcohol, which is a demon eating spirit. I don't know why that's in there, but then you said it was samsara. It's suffering. It represents suffering in Eastern.
It's
So
suffering. Yes, yes.
how do I
And-
cleanse my suffering? Awareness, obviously,
right.
but and
Because,
physical.
right. We learned that the Hucha energy, which is a universal force, it's a universal force. And we learn how it feeds off of humanity, how when we're in those lower levels of consciousness and perception, living in shame and guilt, self deprecating thoughts, addictions, that's food for this universal force, for
Yes,
this Hucha. Okay. And it invades our nervous system specifically because our nervous system has electrical potential and a heck of a lot of it,
yes.
and it feeds off of that. So a lot of the extraction that I do and that I teach in the Kapuli to my apprentices is how to extract that, get that hoocha out of
Mm.
there so that as we then bring in the light can take hold. That's the
Ooh.
difference between what I do and what maybe a Reiki master might do, someone that knows
Ah,
Reiki.
that's
Again, that's a very beautiful healing modality, but they're not extracting.
mm.
And until you extract all that dense, intrusive energy out of there, then that light energy will take hold. But you got to extract the poop first,
Right.
right?
Well, yeah, exactly. Get the junk out of there. Like, get the crap out of there.
Exactly.
Hoocha, get gone. Like, but you so many similarities with many things. That's a, extraction is a very crucial word to plant medicine community. Like when you're putting together an ayahuasca tea or some kind of ceremonial a mushroom blend of ashwagandha and psychoactive substances for a extraction, personal extraction using plant ceremony assistance, you have like, to extract the modalities from nature in the barks, acacia, and when they make the acacia root and then the other plant, the plantas that they mix together to create ayahuasca. Not saying go run off and do an ayahuasca journey and that's going to be the answer to your life. You could die. There's someone just an actress just died from in Mexico from doing combo because they're most likely unaware of how to dieta properly, diet, no meat, no sex, no this, no that, before a little bit of fasting, and are you on these medications or not. There has the facilitator has to have the proper knowledge and or a medical team involved to diagnose, no, this person's on SSRIs. If they do ayahuasca or 5-MeO bufo DMT, which I have done, like there's a high chance they're going to go into a cardiac arrest or have a seizure at the same time and die or white out, and just something not good, not positive will happen. So so it goes into like back to the story of the Buddhist monk on Anthony's pharmacopoeia documentary where he travels to India. He goes to a Buddhist monk and brings this 5-MeO DMT bufo toad venom, straight venom, not extraction. And you vape it through a vape. I've done multiple ceremonies. My ex was a facilitator. Shout out to her. Cut cords with compassion, but she did great work. Learned from Mexico. And but they bring these, so I know from experience how good this was for me to shed my scales using medicine. But they bring this medicine and it's documentary to the Buddhist monk in India, and they somehow convinced him to try the vapor, and you sip it in, and all of a sudden you launch off and you go into these realms of dimensions. Everyone has a different experience. Mine was visual. Mine was a full spectrum. I somehow was blessed the first time to get full spectrum. It takes years to get there sometimes, they say. But the Buddhist monk says he did it. He comes out of it a little bit. You're still kind of in the woo, wow. And he's like, this is cheating. Y'all are cheating. Ah, I've been practicing meditation for 44 years or something like that to get transcendental meditation. This is cheating. I'm
And
like, I'm like, So like it is a tool, but at the same time it's in all in remembrance that it's always been there for us to access that in a natural state of being. Set aside the word sober because none of us are sober. I had coffee this morning. That's that affects my adrenaline receptors. And the more coffee I drink, my adrenaline for like, give me more, give me more, give me more. I can't go on, you know.
Yeah.
And yeah.
And
So
what you just mentioned, the plant medicine is beautiful. It really helps with the healing, either through extracting releasing what we don't need, or through that sacred process of alchemy that we've been talking about. And it's important to know, is this person taking certain meds on a linear level, but on an energetic level, it's even more important to understand, especially, it doesn't matter where in the world you do it. There needs to be a sacred circle created, because we're open when we're doing plant medicine, and the possibility for something to happen, for this hucha energy to invade, is increased. Okay. And
mm,
so people that might go, let's say they go down to Peru, they go down to another part of the world, and they just think, well, let's just recreationally go try some ayahuasca,
right,
and
right,
let's go
right.
trip out and see what's up.
Wow.
Exactly. It can
Yeah.
be dangerous, because
Yes.
if you're not doing it in a sacred environment
Mm.
with shamans that know what they're doing, you could expose yourself to some very precarious situations.
Right. And if
So you
the
want to make
shaman,
sure that, yeah, from an
yeah,
energetic perspective, it's taken care of as well.
right, exactly. It's not the shaman that's giving you the experience. It's the medicine that's giving you the experience. And whether if the shaman might be sick and may be like, I want to make money today, because some are
Sure,
down, some are down, like that down there, some are not. And if he has physical sickness, whether it be just a cough or this or that, it may allow other energetic frequencies to attract to those tails through something that we may not be able to describe on a micro level. you know um
yeah,
Lucia said, amen to that, cat. Sacred circle, yes. How's my
right on,
encounter
Lucia.
with plant medicine
Yeah,
was
very
in a
important to
circle.
understand the energetic component as well as the linear in everything we do. Like we were just talking about, exposure to horror movies, exposure to media. There's just fear coming at us constantly, or,
Right.
elevating those levels of stress, so on and so forth.
And
So,
how do we attack fear? What do I flight or run, or I face everything and rise, or what other acronyms can we come up with?
right. And so through that resetting the nervous system, we're learning how to step out of fight, flight, fear. And actually, I was having us reset our nervous system just before I did the invocation at the start of the podcast, when I had us extending our exhalations, relaxing our facial muscles,
Mm.
shifting over to the right hemisphere of the brain. That's all part of the process of resetting the nervous system. And that process I'm going to put on my website, ancientinstincts.com, on the resources tab. There's a lot of free resources there for everybody,
Will
talking about
you
how to
will,
create it. I'm sorry.
will you email me that website so I can drop it in the comments for those listening?
I will
Thank
definitely.
you.
So important, again, to reset that nervous system. And once we do, it can be reset for hours, unless of course we experience another stressful situation, helping to take those stress hormones out of the bloodstream, to give the
Mm.
brain a break so that we can start connecting with the spirit world and getting out of the linear world, because there's so much more out there, so much.
There is.
And we become explorers. We want to discover,
Yes.
we
Yes.
yeah, pioneers. Be a pioneer. Go explore. Go discover.
I see you. Pioneer obviously has an attachment with Christopher Columbus. Did the natives find Christopher Columbus lost at sea, or did he discover the new land? I like explorer. I'm gonna explore. And it's not about the destination. It's about the journey. Like take my time. There's no, you know what I mean? Like I'm gonna die someday. That's the only truth. Why not enjoy every moment I can? But that is difficult.
It
That is
is.
very, it's very difficult because of what everything you said. You
Yeah,
know,
it is. And for us as human beings, especially here in dominant society, we're used to getting what we want when we want it. Right? I push that button, I get on the internet, and next day whatever package arrives, I've got it. But
convenience.
the journey of healing is a much different journey that encompasses faith, trust, belief that I'm on the right path, that I'm going to be guided.
Mm.
And this is a lifelong journey. This could take decades, it can take lifetimes to really start to really master that art of alchemy that you were mentioning
Yes,
earlier.
yes,
This is an
yes.
art form. Alchemy is
Mm.
an art form. And Hermes talked about this when we look at Hermeticism and we talk about the ancient Egyptian mysteries. And we learn about this in our class. We talk about the universal laws that are immutable and the difference between relative truth and absolute truth. There's a big difference there. One is
Mm.
the relative truth of the linear world, which is illusory. It's all illusion. It all
Yep.
changes, right? We get together with a partner and we think, oh, this is my love for life. We get married and down the road, right?
So what do you think about this? Love is a frequency, not an emotion.
That's exactly right. You're right on, brother. Exactly. So we start to
From
step out of those illusory realms that we live in because most of humanity is right there, living within fate and karma and causality and probability. And we learn how to step into the sacred and into the realm of possibility, auspicious synchronicity, destiny instead of fate. And we're starting to throughout our lifetimes master this, but all slowly and organically, not forcing anything, not trying to slam that square into the round hole, that
the
square peg
peg.
into the round hole. It's got to happen now. I'm saying that I'm going to evolve and I'm doing it today. It's
Right,
all a process. And again, it's often for many of us a process that takes a lifetime, many lifetimes even.
right. Claro, claro. And it's always continuing to unfold, and the work that I don't like the word work, but the practice never is done. It's always happening. Uh, I have to write that word down, auspicious, because it's one that if I don't, I'm gonna forget it, because that really helps. Synchronicity is cute because I see it everywhere, and so does a lot of us with angelic numbers and stuff.
Hmm.
But that adds a lot more clarity to it,
Yes,
claro and abundance. So thank you for that.
you're welcome. And as
Auspicious synchronicity.
auspicious synchronicity. And as you just mentioned, you were talking about seeing numeric sequences, starting to become aware. That is the first key, awareness. Oh, the universe is communicating to me. I'm seeing that same number sequence everywhere I go. I look at the clock, I see 444. I look at the car in front of me, the license plate, I see 444. This is how one of the many ways that the universe communicates to us. But if we're
Yes.
not aware, it just passes us by.
And but you tell me that can be very this you can create massive delusions and from that also, like I've noticed, because then all of a sudden there becomes an obsession of communicating for me with the universe. All the license plates are speaking, and I may get in a wreck because there's that one, this one says that, like literally the other day some crazy stuff. 27's been happening with me, and then I was in the emissions line, and I see, like, I have a picture of it. It was like 27 something, and the car in front of it literally said, it said Tija, or like T-Jax, by Mayan zodiac. I'm like, I gotta text me compa, me friend, me, like I gotta text her this because she understands. It's like you would someone that knows, like, understands that this is as real as you can make it. Like, I can go. That's the point right there. Is like as real as you make it. So what does that mean to me? Why do I keep saying the number 27? Oh, the 27 Club, Jim Morrison, Janis Joplin, Kurt Cobain, they all died. Death is a process, spiritually shedding scales, this or that. But death is not even real. It's an illusion. We only just evolve into new realms, into new worlds, into new existence. So on a physical level, it's still words are all illusions. So I can really disassociate myself from reality if I with those angelic receivings, right? So however I describe it, some people might want to call them other things, but than angels or spirit guides or something. But you know, in all balance and harmony.
Yes, and I liked what you said because a lot of times on this path, we can become obsessed. Like you were
Yeah.
just you gave the example of looking for all these numbers all over the place, and or we become seduced. Oh, I know this is my path. Maybe not.
Oh.
Wait. Instead of jumping into something right away, be patient. Keep the faith. Let's look for more messages coming. Look for the guidance, so on and so forth. And like you were talking about at the beginning of the podcast about dreams, a lot of times messages come in dreams because those are metaphors for what's happening with our soul. Maybe we're in the dark night of the soul. Maybe we're in that stage and we're having a lot of nightmares and we're trying to process a lot of the wounding and trauma that may have happened not only in this lifetime, but in other lifetimes. And we're bringing it forth in this lifetime because the Huira Cocha or our soul contains all that information. We talk about this as well in our class. Our soul, a lot of people don't understand what the soul is, but the soul is very, very powerful. It's a very powerful electromagnetic field that contains our karma from past lifetimes, maybe generational trauma, imprints of disease that maybe are following along a certain lineage or line. It's the software for our DNA. Our DNA could be seen as the hardware. The soul, or the Huiracocha in the Andean language of the Quechua people, contains all this and more. It's the bridge between our physical and our spiritual body. It's a bridge, it's an interface. Very, very interesting. So, anyway, getting back to my point that you made, approaching this journey of healing very slowly, organically, naturally, not trying to force anything, not being seduced by a certain variable within that journey, not being obsessed by it, but just letting it happen, let it flow.
Right, let it flow, ride the wave, and let it be. And you know what's funny about "Let It Be" is Paul McCartney got that song "Mother Mary Come to Me" in his dream. The song by the Beatles, "Let It Be." Also, Tesla and Einstein. We wouldn't have phones today if it wasn't for dream workers. Got a lot of their scientific revolutionized ideas from dream work. You look at Sigmund Freud, the master supposedly of all in his books. That is something I've learned through just studies of past when I was 19 years old, just curiosity, and also through indigenous native Lakota ways. And it's been very powerful for me. Of course, I've already attacked like the using mirror shadow work and the Toltec ways of um, the ways of meditation to access the realms of theta, beta, or alpha, which is necessary to do those dream works at night. You need to be in a lucid state, and you can repaint and remap your inner road, your thoughts that are recurring traumas. Like I have a paintbrush while I'm in my dreams, running around. It's all neon colors, bright and fun. Like, oh hey, I'm gonna move you over here, move you over there. Sounds crazy, but you look at Toltec traditions, they used to just use mirror reflection. They didn't have obsidian mirrors and stuff like that back then. They would look in the water. Water is an element also. They're like a stone, obsidian's a stone, and they would look in the water and meditate. And then they would go into their dreams, in the other dream state. Life is but a dream. Great children's song. You know, and I've noticed that it's the little tiny, tiny light feathery darknesses that I had not attacked yet. with the tools I have to reverse my perspective on that, because even the tiniest fear, like, oh, there's this girl at the when I was getting 14 years old, and I'm getting a Snickers bar or something in the vending machine at lunch, and there, and she Jason has a big head, Jason has big, that's good, making fun of me because like maybe I didn't like her or something, I don't know, or one of her friends, it was some weird situation, but like those tiny little like a lot of doesn't mean anything. Actually, it's a tiny thread of existence within my road that I paint very colorfully, um, that attaches to insecurities.
Sure, sure.
It's a
Those blind spots.
tiny,
Yeah, those
tiny little
the
blind spot.
shadow runs very deep. It runs and it has all of the information, the trauma, the wounding from many lifetimes. So for instance, when I'm working with a client as a healer, as a curandera, I am going to the core wound, which may have happened hundreds of lifetimes prior and has been influencing adversely and in unhealthy ways all the other lifetimes after that. I've got to track and heal the core wound in order to bring healing not only to the current lifetime but all those other previous lifetimes. Things start to unravel slowly. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%
Yeah.
clarity. Yeah, slowly, and
So,
I see that, and it must, and a person like me coming from where I come from, in my past life here on Earth, from when my Earth birthed, um, I chose some dark roads and I had no patience. Hustler state of mind. I must get it there, get done, get the money, get it back, and do it by this, and do it every single day as much as I can until, and then once I beat the game, lined up in jail, and I'm like, oh, that game wasn't so fun.
yeah, yeah,
And then what do we do now?
hard
And
lessons. Yeah,
yeah, alchemized.
yeah,
I manipulate my energy for a higher purpose, for my internal wealth, my internal currency, my internal abundance, which I
yes,
found out is altruism, first and foremost. Like, stop thinking about Jason so much. That helps me the most. Roots from Dharma, altruism. Like what is this person about? Who are you? Who is
yes,
Cat? I already know myself. Like, I could talk about myself all day and just become egocentric, egomaniac, and just run myself in circles into insanity. But it's the altruistic movement. It's also selfish, understanding the laws of correspondence and
yes,
karmic return. Because I do understand that helps me take my monkey brain, and the circus within. A, the
yeah.
circus is closed today. It's about you.
Yeah, and I completely agree. We heal on the individual level in order to affect the whole, the greater good of the whole positively. So it's a selfless objective.
Mm,
We're not healing. Sure, we're going to reap benefits from it too, and that's good,
right,
but
right.
with the objective of the greater good of the whole, altruism, as you're speaking to. And another thing that you just spoke to was technology. And I know that, I mean, at this point in history, we think that we're pretty cool, right? We've got our cell phones, we can connect like we're doing now via the internet. We're pretty technologically advanced, we think.
Right.
But we really look at the history, for instance, of Atlantis, Lemuria. We didn't even need cell phones. We didn't need
No.
computers. We were communicating telepathically. We were
Yes.
much more advanced than we are now. Though all
It
those DNA strands were activated, and we've lost that. We've got to come back to a point where we're starting to evolve again. And the purpose of evolution is the greater good of the whole and return to source energy.
it's funny when you talk about returning to source energy, it allows you to use ESP, telepathic connection. I just call it ESPN now. Me and my buddy Marty, he's a Dharma mentor to me. I'll be reminiscing like deeply, like so profoundly and deeply of some of his teachings, and some good times. And then within that like minute of reminiscing, it's like ring, the phone rings. And it's like, you mother effer. That means love to him. Like he speaks that kind of love language, like a Dharma punk, like you mother effer, you would call right now, dude. Like I was just thinking about it. He's like, I was thinking about you too. There's like whatever you want to
We're
call that.
connected. We're connected. Unlike what Darwin taught us, that we're not connected. We're just individuals, and life is just a random process. What you're referring to is, no, that's not true. And our scientific community proved this July 4th of 2012. No, that's not even true. So why are we still teaching it in our school systems? We we are actually very connected. There is a great web of life, a great matrix, and we are very connected to it. Our thoughts, our speech, our actions all contribute to this web, and they contribute to the soul of Earth, the noosphere. This is something else our scientific community has confirmed. Much like we have an electromagnetic field, Earth has an electromagnetic field, and it's called the noosphere.
So okay.
Huh?
Oh, just spell it, please.
NOO sphere,
Okay,
noosphere.
now how I received it was Noah's Ark. Like I build my ark,
Ah,
and that's my Noah sphere. And so
okay,
like
no,
that's the
a little
play.
bit different than that. This is the electromagnetic field of Earth, which is the soul of Earth. And it actually is the same shape as our soul. I teach in my class how we open our soul, our electromagnetic field. And when we do, it's very easy for us to connect with all other life throughout the universe, including the soul of Earth. Our soul looks
Mm.
the same. It's a sacred donut. It's a geometrical torus when it's open, and it looks exactly like the geometrical torus, the soul of Earth. So,
Mm.
all of our thoughts, all of our emotions, all of our actions, all of our speech is stored in Earth's soul. All of the violence, all of the wars, all of the bloodshed, but also all of the beauty, the acts of courage, the heroism, the altruism. All of this is stored in the soul of Earth, in the noosphere. So, in order to start bringing about the positive changes of Earth that we look to achieve, first we've got to clean up our own contamination, because
Mm.
our emotional, mental, physical contamination contributes to the contamination of Earth in very profound ways, as I just
Hmm.
described. So we play a major role, everything, and we are connected to everything, unlike what Darwin has taught us and what's still, I believe, being taught in our educational systems. Everything, life throughout the universe, is based on cooperation, not competition, as Darwin has taught us. And maybe someday our educational system will reach the point where we are able to understand this and apply this and teach this in our schools, instead of teaching survival of the fittest, that we are not connected, that we are all separate, that we derived from apes, and that we are at only a certain level and we are only conditioned to be who we are and never realize our innate potential.
Right, and what you said is very crucial to being me, as a dominion of my own engineering of the energetic system. Um, and proper alignment for me to co-create, I must have that before, as an individual sole proprietor of my own human. And my own domain. Like I love how you said the interface within. I guess it would be mi corazón, my heart. Um, that must be in harmony, harmonious. And
Yeah.
I fall far from grace. That's what the church put on me. It must be graceful. It's so beautifully aligned before I co-create. I can't be sick. I can't have the flu. I can't have this in my system. I can't have anything that comes at me and makes my physical with those tails you were talking about, because it will not come off clean. If I
Yeah.
am on drugs or alcohol, it may be the message will be distorted. You may be able to receive something from someone on that, but it's going to be distorted, and spiritual and or physical sicknesses may occur.
It certainly is a possibility, and it brings to mind. I think you mentioned a little bit about church, and I'm going back to conditioning, and part of the conditioning of patriarchal religion in our society. And if we even look at the creation story of Adam and Eve, we're all familiar with that story, right?
We're all damned to hell.
Right,
Original
we're all
sin. Let's
damned to
get to the
hell. We're all
point.
sinners. We're born with original sin. And that Eve, she was the first woman and she was a seductress. And she allowed the serpent, who is evil, supposedly, to seduce her. And then she seduced Adam. It's just crazy. If you tell this story to indigenous First Nation people, they look at you like you're crazy. And
Yeah.
so in class, I tell a whole different story, the story of Chico the corn woman. And I won't
Mm,
tell that here, but it basically it's very different than the story of Adam and Eve. And it teaches us how the creatrix, the great woman God, the
mm,
creator woman, made humanity the first humans, the first red, black, white, and yellow humans, and gave to them the stewardship and the guardianship of the elements and of earth. That's who we are. We are
right.
here to be the stewards and the guardians of earth. We are not here as the original, we are not here with original sin, fallen from grace. Already that puts us in a position of disempowerment, right? That whole story, that whole concept makes us feel like, okay, well, I guess I'm less than. I just got born. I just came into the world and I'm already a sinner. What the hell? Right?
Center, chicken dinner. Let's go drink about it. Oh gosh. But you're talking red, yellow, black, and white is the colors on the medicine wheel in a Native American
In many, yes.
and all. Yeah, so many correlations and similarities with all of this stuff, which is also the similar to the equal arm cross, where circle with the straight cross looks like you're shooting a gun through a scope, um, hunting or something, and where do you think they got the cross from? The equal arm cross, you know,
That's actually a very ancient and sacred symbol. You'll see it in Hermeticism, you'll see it in different spiritual traditions, but the vertical arm of that cross is always represents the masculine. It's phallic, right? It's vertical.
mm,
The horizontal axis or the horizontal arm is always feminine. So it's the yin, it's the balance of masculine and feminine energy, exactly what you were just referring to, having to be in harmony, having to be in balance, having to continually find that equilibrium in our lives because we're always tested on the linear level. We think,
yeah.
gosh, I feel like I'm enlightened today. And then we go outside and guess what? There's a challenge. There's going to be something. Equilibrium is something that we're always going to have to work at. Challenges are always going
Mm.
to appear in the linear world. We're going to have to constantly go into the labyrinth, find our way, and then come back out. These challenges will constantly be with us. We never reach a point of complete and absolute equilibrium.
Right. So now my directions, my inner compass, whenever I drive northeast, south, or west, has changed for life.
Okay.
We're going south, masculine all the way. Let's go to California. That's all my feminines coming out. Oh, peace. Let's go to the beach, peace and
There
love
you
and
go.
life. Why do you think the hippies went to San Francisco in the 60s? Hey, I don't know. Man, that's so I didn't know that part about the equal arm cross slit set aside that may be similar to what it's going on with the medicine wheel and or any other things. Now, how do I perceive that? I can perceive it however I want. And that's the truth.
Yeah.
Because
And
some man created that, like, or did an alien come down and hieroglyph that on some stone somewhere, and then man saw it and said that's what that means. So they calling on all aliens, starseeds, whatever you want to be called, with all perfect peace, love, and trust and harmony. And we come in peace, not with middle fingers, not those two fingers, these two fingers, or maybe in this way, you know. Like come and show us what was really going on, so we can help assist this co-creation, because I need your help. I need your help. You know, I
yes,
know
yes.
we all that seek and believe. I'm that type of person that, like, I will not ask for help. I don't need it. I am so stubborn and prideful, but underneath it all, I know I am willing, and I do need to ask for help, whether that be within spiritually, prayer, this, that, active altruism, creation, or just calling somebody. Hey, dude. Hey, bro. Hey, sister. Hey, I'm going through it. Like, sometimes I can't own up to that. Like I'll just sit through it, and I'll just compartmentalize it, do my own personal stuff. Like, nah, like sometimes we got to reach out to our brothers and sisters.
Exactly. Good point, Jason. That is so, so important. And again, that's the way we've been conditioned because our society is very individualistic, right?
Mm,
In indigenous societies, they're more communal. They function in terms of the I you or the kapuli. Even the way they greet themselves is very different. Here in the Western world, we usually, a general greeting is, Hi, how are you? And the answer is usually, I'm
mm.
fine. How are you?
Oh,
But
fine.
very
Then there's a
different.
whole thing.
Yeah, very different in indigenous communities, First Nations, a lot of more so with those that don't have exposure to dominant society. The greeting there is, Hi, how are we?
Ooh.
And the response will be, We are fine or we are not. But this is because they are an IU, they are a community, a kapuli. And that one individual, even though they understand, yes, I'm an individual, they also understand that they play an important part in their community. And something that's coming to mind is the statement. It's actually more than a statement. This is a beautiful spiritual tenet that I see actually through many different indigenous First Nation societies. Understanding that what we say, do, speak affects 7 generations beyond us,
Nah,
right? And this is why we see these cyclical patterns of alcoholism, domestic violence, whatever it might be, child abuse, all of
mm,
this ugliness that we really have to work on. And
mm,
one of the ways to do that, one of the objectives for humanity and the onus of humanity at this time in Earth's history is to revive and resurrect the divine feminine.
yes,
Like I
yes.
was talking about earlier about these different epochs where we're going from animism, shamanism to polytheism to monotheism. And now we're in the global industrial era. And we're
Okay.
devoid of spirit. Humanity is devoid of spirit in general.
Well, why do you think technology? Like, you
Right?
can
Exactly.
I can create a girlfriend right now, an AI
Sure.
girlfriend on my phone, and go on a date, and she can sit
Yeah.
right across from
Yeah.
me. It's like,
Exactly.
what?
And we're devoid of spirit, so we have lost the concept, the principle of ayni, ayni. Ayni in ancient times was established and kept by our ancestors. Ayni means balance, reciprocity, being of service to others, being able to give as well as take. So in ancient times, our ancestors were very connected to earth and the spirit world through
Mm,
ritual,
mm,
ceremony, prayer. And as we're talking now, that's long since been forgotten. We are out of balance. We are out of Ayni. Humanity is not in balance in Ayni with the earth or with the spirit world. And because of this, we will continue to see more earth changes because our earth mother is really suffering right now. And
Wow.
so the
Man.
earthquakes, the tornadoes, the floods, the hurricanes, the volcanoes, all of these earth changes are going to continue to increase until humanity figures out, oh, we got to reconnect again. We've got to
Mm.
reconnect, and we've got to reestablish Ini. We've got to reestablish this balance between humanity and the spirit world, or we're going to be looking at a really very serious situation upon earth. And we already
So,
are. We're
so
in the
you're
sixth
talking
great
about
mass
it.
extinction right now. We're
Yeah.
undergoing the sixth great mass extinction of species, and it's been caused by us, by humanity.
Right, right. Okay, so look at this. Like you're talking about exactly what the Dalai Lama was proposing to the churches back in the day. He was exiled from over there and by the Indian other India area and exiled for his beliefs in science and the mind. Not the actual scientist using technology. He came to the Western here, and he brought his ideas of a frequency, sound, and vibration, and all that to the churches. And the scientists were like, "Whoa, this Dalai guy is onto something." And they used their nanograms or whatever they're called to measure the frequencies of love and the frequencies of anger, and these are thoughts that produce energetic frequencies of the graph chart, and it's a jagged edge when someone's super mad and resentful, and it's just like super jaggedy mountainy edges, and then when someone's perfect love and prayer and harmony or whatever you want to say, like in peace, it's just like like a round nice little wave. And so Dalai Lama's like, what technology, what, let's take this to the church and help them. And the church was like, exiled again. Dalai Lama, you go back to your weird whack-tailed woo-woo crap, and you are not allowed in here. But there was science that backed it up. So prayer, let's say prayer isn't real. Prayer is just a bunch of the same woo-woo crap that they're all saying about us people, or whoever we think we are. And prayer's not real. There's no way. Okay, so say it's not real. When I pray for somebody or pray for world peace or pray for this or that person that I know that exists here or is maybe out into the ethereal afterworld, um, I create my thoughts go to not thinking about myself. The circus is gone. The monkeys and the elephants are napping, and at least it creates peace for me. But now that we have
Yes.
the science proven, low power mode, we don't. So let's see how of 20% battery. Now that my internal battery is charged up energetically through my neural pathways and the neural system that you were talking about, um, that affects my energetic system. And let's say even if that wasn't real, and science is wrong, at least I found peace of mind praying.
Right on, brother. And what we want to understand is that science is just now starting to catch up with what our ancestors have known for millennia. Okay. Whether I'm talking about the great web of life, which has just been corroborated by our scientists, or DNA, which the Zolkeen and the Tonopawali had already brought in to their culture hundreds of years ago. So even though our society is very logical, very pragmatic, science has to prove everything, right? And if science hasn't proved it, well, it just doesn't exist. It's not. It's just belief. It's religion. And I want to emphasize that what we're talking about here is not religion. This is spirituality. This is connection. It's not dogma. Religion
Hmm.
is dogma. There's a Bible, there's a book here that says you do it this way, you do it that way. There's no
I
dogma in the First Nations, in the indigenous beliefs. These are spiritual tenets that have existed since the beginning of humanity, and their ancestors have passed this information, actually this wisdom, down verbally. But there's no dogma, there's no book that says okay, you have to do it this way. And when I come in power, I'm going to edit that book and I'm going to put something else in it because it's going to make me more powerful. This is, we're talking about two totally different things, religion
Right.
versus spirituality.
So if I ask you this question, if I may, if you could replace the word spiritual with any word, what would it be?
Probably wholeness, because
Hmm.
what you're completely whole. You're connected to source energy again, creator, mother, father, God. You're connected to all life in that matrix. You are now whole. You're not
I like it.
separated anymore. You're not segregated. You're not divided. There's no other. It's all us.
Right, and that happens through connection, right?
Definitely. Yeah.
I,
Yeah.
I, I've been looking at that lately, especially with the social webs and all this stuff, like this whole new spiritual revolution, new age, woo-ha, like what's going on? Like it's become cool. Like, okay, so now y'all are actually into this. When I was a teenager, I was a freak. Like, okay, like so like replacing the word with wholeness or connection. Like I'm connecting today. Can you give me some space rather than I'm doing my spiritual ritual? Okay, okay, blah, 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 blah. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That creates a whole bunch of yuck in the system for I could see because people have their opinions on everything, and I like that you said wholeness and connection creates that. So like I'm connecting today. May I call you back and like I'm connecting with myself meditating or whatever, it's something simple like I'm just connecting with myself. I'll call you back in an hour, you
Yeah.
know.
And for each person, it might be perceived and defined differently. Maybe not everybody would define it as wholeness. Maybe they would say harmony or whatever, love. So here within these traditions, you have the ability to explore again, to define for yourself what this connection means for you. It doesn't have to be in a book written by the Pope or written by the apostles or whoever. It doesn't I don't have to be just
No
Bible.
disrespect. No, you know what's funny? The original picture of Jesus was actually said to be painted. He was a homeless man and somewhere in Europe, painted by Salvador Dali. They pulled this guy up and gave him some bread or something, and was like, Dali, paint this guy and make him and call him Jesus. So like there's a lot of arguments that it's just mythology like Greek was. Like
Yeah.
you look, so like, and then there's the hardcore thumpers that are like, I'm on the hill to the grave with this, and Jesus is real. They found blood samples in his temple, and he will rise again. You know, it's like okay, cool. If he does rise, let me meet him. I would love to kiss him on his cheek.
And I really, Jesus is a rock for me, but I'm not Christian. I don't follow the dogma.
Mm-mm. I
But for
don't label
me,
either.
yeah, but for me, I am very connected to the Christos energy.
Yes,
Um,
yes.
so but I don't consider myself a Christian or a Catholic person. I don't look at integrating the dogma within the Bible necessarily. To I know as an individual what that means to me, what that connection with the Christos energy means to me. And I'm looking at my clock. I've got a class that I need to teach in 5 minutes. So,
All right. Well, I'm at 18% battery,
yeah.
and they say Jesus loves the enemy, right? So I am the enemy, and I'm gonna honor the Christ within to let you go and not hold you hostage here on this podcast. And thank you so much. It's so much honor,
Thank
love,
you,
and
Jason.
light.
So I just want to quickly mention, so Moon Key classes starting in January, Kapuli, but that's the apprenticeship, and also mentioning that I'm Temescalera. So I
Oh,
use
Temescali!
and
Yay!
we do those temazcals during the summer months because the temazcal is located at a remote mountain location and it's difficult to get there in the winter. but we're going to be holding Temazcals again, probably May through October or so. So keep looking at my website for all of that information. Temazcals, healing clinics coming up around February, and
Yes.
classes.
Email
Okay.
me that link, please, and I'll drop it. Temescali or Temescal. It's a sweat lodge. Like for those that don't know, you're sitting in a sauna of natural rocks and stuff like that, and it's very holistically healthy for the body, the spirit, the mind, and everything. I have done one in Mexico. I do the native version here with the Lakota. I am very intrigued to check yours out. I've seen it on your
Okay. We're
website.
going to
It
stay
looks
in touch, brother.
good. But I do need the link to drop it because I lost it. So
Okay.
if not, I will go try to do diligently find it and post it for everybody on here. And Lucia wants to say thank you to all this for the amazing social media platforms, and especially
Yes.
I would say to you too. I've seen her already. Thank you here. Thank you, sister, for the medicines and teachings. And I'm gonna let you go. Um, do what you do, and I'm sure it's going to be amazing. Thank you, sister. I honor
Yes.
everything.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you for everybody watching. Website ancientinstincts.com. I'm going to send that to Jason. Feel free to communicate with me. And again, my appreciation. Have a blessed day.
You too. Blessed be.
Bye bye.
Later.